There we are, game number 3 is here. FreakinAndy's got Mongols, Ravens got Franks. This map, for anybody who might not be familiar with it, is going to have a lot of hunting. A lot of hunting. How much? A lot. Take a look up in the north. There's going to be 24 deer over here, just from the ones that we can see. I think that's all of them. Yes. So we have 24 deer over here. We have 6 boars as well. So technically it's going to be 3 boars for each player. It's going to be 12 deer for each player. So it's like 3 packs of deer for each player. And 3 boars over here, right? And then down the south, towards the east, we have a river with plenty of deep fish. So we could see some water economy from some of the players over here, but of course that's going to come at an extra investment. And given the civilization Andy's gone for, I would imagine he's probably just going to choose to ignore water and try to get as much of the extra food available over here as possible. So one thing we can see, and something that we have seen in the past from players, is somebody goes for the walls, right? So let's say the FreakinAndy wants to get, yeah, the walls up over here, perhaps from here to here, I guess. That could be really good.
Okay.
Or more on the left-hand side. Yeah, on the right-hand side, more so that he gets the majority of the deer. With Mongols and their 40% faster working hunters, that should give him enough of a boost to go up to the castle age pretty easily, pretty quickly. And to produce as many military units as he sees fit, basically. So I think I'm preferring FreakinAndy civilization over here. That's not to say the Franks are a poor civ. Not even close, they are an incredible civilization, but in this map specifically, it seems to me like Mongols are much more suited, you know, much better suited for this. Nice. Something else to keep in mind as well is that the generation of the map is going to have each TC spawn surrounded by enemy TCs. So on the left-hand side, FreakinAndy is going to have TC up in the north, a TC down the south, and then he's got to get past both those TCs to get to his second TC. And that's going to be the case for Raven as well, with his north and south TCs being separated by both FreakinAndy's TCs as well. So it's always very interesting, but we'll see how that works out in the end. Seems like FreakinAndy will get first blood over here. The quick wall's not coming in for Raven. Not on time, anyway. And he ends up losing the first villager when trying to get the third boar from the center. Actually, the second boar from the center, because FreakinAndy's got 1. Raven's got 1. There are 3 left still. So this was actually the second boar for Raven. It seems like FreakinAndy's not going to let that happen. If the boar goes back, then FreakinAndy should be able to go and collect it too. Yeah, there we go. And that should be 5-4. Board distribution favoring FreakinAndy, the Mongol player.
Fait. Oui. Prêt.
Never mind. With the board going down on the Ravens TC, that's going to leave us on 4th 2 boars. Still favoring FreakinAndy if he does end up going after these, that is. And he should be sending a villager already to collect it. It's going to run out. Yeah, okay, there we go. He's sending some villagers to collect. Actually, he's sending some villagers to get a barracks up. He's going up to the fuel age already. Is he gonna try and put pressure already with scouts in the fuel age? That'd be interesting. Okay, FreakinAndy's not collecting from the boars anymore. Well, there is plenty of deer to be had over here still. How much do we have left? He's been collecting some, and there's still 22. Yeah, it's not bad. Plenty of extra food for the red player. You know, in a map like this, you do need to come well prepared because you cannot just send a bunch of villagers over to collect food. You need to balance your economy with Mongols. That requires some actual preparation. Otherwise, you're just going to start floating a lot of food and you're going to be lacking everything else. So, FreakinAndy has done a pretty good job overall at that. If you take a look at this economy, it's looking pretty balanced. It's going to get to the castle age. It's going to get to the field age, sorry, in a moment. And I imagine we'll see a market come up to help with that. Oh, he's going for a civil and a blacksmith, actually. No markets at all. Alright. He's already managed to get enough gold to click out to the castle age. He only needs to get enough food. Which shouldn't be too much of an issue, right?
Café?
There we go. One villager going down from FreakinAndy to Raven Scouts. And it seems like Raven's probably going to end up losing a villager himself as well over here. Not quite. Good defense for Raven so far. Man, this is a disaster. This is such a disaster. There we go. Another villager goes down for Raven. And there's so much idle economy over here for the blue player. It's ridiculous. If you take a look at FreakinAndy's economy, it's just kept on working. FreakinAndy does have a little bit of extra, you know, idle time over here if you take a look at the worker efficiency. I'm not really sure exactly where that comes from, though, because he seemed to have his economy working pretty well up in the north for the most part. And there's just a few villages over here forward from FreakinAndy, but there's a lot of extra villages from Raven that were not working.
Okay.
Oh, it's from here. FreakinAndy sent villagers from the right-hand side base over to get a tower up. Hey, Jaraka. Hi, welcome. So this is why FreakinAndy's economy was also struggling. Yet another villager goes down for Raven. Beautiful. Yay, Jarakan, thank you so much for the resub. 7 months, coming in hot, Prime Gaming as well, love it. Free for you, great for me, very much appreciated. Thanks a lot. The extended support, 7 months, 2 months away from the Twitch, baby. Interestingly enough, FreakinAndy, I thought he was gonna go up to the cast stage right away, but he's just been putting pressure here. If he uses the market, though, he should be on his way up, and yeah, he's going to balance his economy now. He's kind of struggling for gold a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Sell some food. Picks up to the castle age. And Raven does not seem like he'll be able to go up at all, not anytime soon. It sounds like it's going to be 3-0, yes. It sounds like it's going to be pretty one-sided. That's very unfortunate. The previous set was pretty one-sided too. If this is indeed the last game of the series, the next series we'll cast is Dark versus Adam. That's the next series for the day. Beautiful. Let's take a look at the left-hand side.
Zeker.
FreakinAndy is collecting stone quite heavily now, so we will most likely see a castle drop coming up very soon. He could potentially tank his economy and just buy the castle, as opposed to waiting for the stone miners. If he just wants to get the game right away, he could buy himself a castle, drop it on, right next to the TC, and that would be game already, but he's going for the siege workshop, which is fine as well. He can wait for the castle, just wait for the stone miners to collect enough stone, and for the time being, we'll see mangonels come out. He's got knights on the way as well. Where's this table? Right hand side? Yes. Just tables for Raven. Coming up, and he's gonna be in the castle age in a moment as well. But yeah, I think the most important thing over here is going to be the castle for FreakinAndy. That will basically make it impossible for Raven to run away. Because if we see a castle come up over here, for instance, and then FreakinAndy walls the left-hand side, it's impossible for Raven to escape. And FreakinAndy would have siege, he would have Mangudai, right, knights as well, he would have everything. And Raven would struggle big time. So he's going for his own castle, actually. Raven manages to beat FreakinAndy to a castle. Certainly makes the game a little bit more interesting, but still, this DC is most likely a gunner. Monastery. Nice defense though from Raven. Gets 2 knights out. Gets both mangonels down. FreakinAndy is gonna take some time to get extra siege out and to get the monks out to protect the siege with as well. Instead down the south we'll see a knight coming in from Raven. You know what? You know what? This might not be quite over yet. No, no, no. Nice. Beautiful. Up in the north. Yeah, still no castle from FreakinAndy. Still has not collected the resources. I'm very curious though, if he gets enough stone to get a castle up, does he really want to go for the castle fort over here? It seems to me like it'd probably be better for him to go for a defensive castle, given that now Raven's also starting to put some pressure on himself. On the left-hand side base of FreakinAndy, for instance, we see an extra TC coming up, which is pretty much necessary at this stage. Given he's got way more villagers than a single TC will be able to protect, and Raven already has knights, right? Raven shouldn't have loosened the TC over here in the end, by the looks of it. He did not go for any extra knights, so he cannot take the mangonels down, and TC crumbles. There is an extra TC already behind the castle from Raven though, and he's got another castle coming up on the left-hand side. And wow, FreakinAndy, he's not looking that dominant anymore. As a matter of fact, Raven's got extra workers. He's the one who's actually tried to go for fishing. He's got more castles. And the other thing that Raven's kind of struggling right now against FreakinAndy is the military count. He is behind the military, but it might not be too bad anyway, because the actual difference is still very small. It's only 6 military units, right? So it shouldn't take too long for Raven to catch up if FreakinAndy is not going to keep on producing himself. Seems that the castle from FreakinAndy is coming forward down the south. And this is at about the same time as Raven's going for a castle drop right next to FreakinAndy's TC. Up in the north and the left, towards the northwest. So this is most likely going down for FreakinAndy very soon. And this could be really good for Raven. This is finally a game where the bull player looks like he's got a solid chance had taken it, while the previous 2 games were looking so one-sided. Even if we could not finish watching game number 1, it looked like FreakinAndy was in a massive lead, and this time around that's not the case anymore. So Raven could very well end up giving us a 4-game series over here, perhaps even a 5-game series, we'll see. But yeah, the castle's beautiful, and very soon he'll be able to go for another one. He's playing Frank, so he does get a 25% discount on castles, right? He's got some knights over here to protect his economy too, or to protect his villagers, to protect his pillars, and he does have another castle on the way. Now this one ranges the TC on the left-hand side just barely in the tower, so he should be able to basically push FreakinAndy away from the left-hand side of the map. And this is huge, because Raven is controlling this area with stone walls. There is nowhere for FreakinAndy to run to, and this is what we were talking about earlier. I was saying if FreakinAndy went for the walls on the left-hand side, and then he was the one to go for a forward castle on the right-hand side, there wouldn't be anywhere for Raven to run to. But now it's going to be the other way around, and FreakinAndy is the one getting pushed around. He does go for 2 additional TCs over here. I don't see a reason why Raven wouldn't be able to keep on going for more castles over here, given he's got 19 freaking stone miners. Yeah. It seems like he's gonna try to go for castles. Probably defensive castles down the south to hold on against FreakinAndy. Few villages going down for Raven to whatever defensive military units FreakinAndy had left on the left-hand side, but yeah, still it shouldn't really prevent Raven from still putting pressure up. You gotta keep on going though. If you take a look at his line of sight, there is a lot of space still left for FreakinAndy to work with, to go for extra TCs and whatnot. So Raven's gotta try and figure out where exactly FreakinAndy is surviving on the left-hand side still. Did he send the villagers forward? Did he send the villagers on the left-hand side? And now he sees the villagers where going over the left-hand side. We're gonna see the castle come up over here for Raven. We have a bunch of villagers from FreakinAndy trying to get a counter castle up. Yeah, and Raven just going to bail from there. Gonna try and get a castle on the left-hand side. Realizes about a TC. Moves away, and FreakinAndy gets a defensive tower up over here to try and prevent Raven from placing a castle too close to this area. But you know what? Once the TC goes down over here, Raven might be able to go for a castle right where the TC was over there. Alternatively, he can go for the castle on top of the hill over here. And FreakinAndy's reacts extremely quickly over here as well. Trying to get just some houses, something on top of the hill to prevent the castle from coming up. A castle up in the north hill over here would actually have enough range to target the TC over here. That would have been really good for Raven, but he bails. He does manage to click out to the Imperial Age though. FreakinAndy instead. He is significantly ahead in worker count with the extra TCs he's gone for. He's been able to pull ahead, to pull a substantial lead in worker count, but take a look at the, let's see, castles here. You take a look at the overall, the big picture, right? The overall situation, and Raven is in a pretty good spot, because even if he's behind the worker count, once he gets to the Imperial Age, he can start pumping trips. He can take the castle down over here, go for a forward castle himself, and FreakinAndy doesn't really have the means to put a stop to that. Trebuchets coming down from the south would also allow Raven to push FreakinAndy away from here as well, and that should be pretty good. Could potentially free himself of these guard towers up in the north on the right hand side from FreakinAndy as well, and it's overall pretty good. Meanwhile, down the south we see another castle coming up for Raven, and that counter castle on the way for FreakinAndy. It seems like both these castles will come up at about the same time. So Mangala is starting to come out from FreakinAndy, but yeah, once again Raven getting to the Imperial Age earlier should be able to take the castles down and prevent FreakinAndy from having the production potential to go into Mangala too heavily. Another castle on the way for Raven. He just needs to have enough resources to go for the trebuchets, to actually queue the units up. So he's got enough to go for 2 already. So we'll see one come out from this castle, I imagine. on the right hand side. And then another one coming up from this castle towards the south. Let's get into the Imperial, and yeah, he's got one from there. He's got... Oh, wow. Is he going for one over here? Yeah, he's going for one over there instead. Makes sense because he does have more castles up in the north to protect the trebuchet with, but I was assuming that this castle was coming up on the right hand side as well, so he could have gone for the treb over here too. And it seems like the castle over here is most likely gonna go down from Raven. However, is he going after the TC or the towers? He's going after the TC. He'll take it down. FreakinAndy is gonna be left on 3 TCs with this one, and then both on the right hand side. While Raven instead, well, Raven is at this point on 2 TCs only. All that he needs by the looks of it. Ideally, Raven wants to go for murder holes as well. That alone would have saved the castle. And we do have a trap from the south over here from Raven that he's gonna use to target the castle foundation. So FreakinAndy is gonna have to bail from here. He cannot really commit to building the castle over here. He can get the castle up and he can keep on repairing it, especially with the amount of storm miners he's got and the amount of villagers he's got over here. But that's going to be a very, very expensive money pit for FreakinAndy. These already gone down. Now the towers are going down next. Yeah, they're all within trebuchet range. Nice. There we go. Castle goes down from FreakinAndy. Oh, but on the right hand side though, the ramp push, damn. FreakinAndy's gone for a crap ton of rams over here and doesn't seem like Raven's got anything to defend against this. I mean, he's got a good amount of throwing axemen. The problem is that they are completely out of position, so this castle's going down. There's another castle coming up for Raven over here. Doesn't seem like that one's going to stay out for too long. And wow, this is incredible. Where are the throwing axemen? They are completely out of position. Defending the trebuchet, but going down to the Mangudai before they're able to take the rams down. And FreakinAndy seems like he might actually be able to take this game in the castle age alone. Never mind the lack of trebuchet, they just go for an incredible amount of rams over here. And that's going to suffice after all. These are still pretty resilient to arrow fire. Yeah, and Raven's trying to keep on pushing on the left hand side. Doesn't really have anything to protect the trebuchet with though. The throwing axemen shouldn't be strong enough, so these Mangudai, especially if FreakinAndy realizes about the hill over here and tries to capitalize on it, will be able to take care of the trebuchet. So Raven realizes, bails, and brings the throwing axemen around. Mangudai should be able to take care of throwing axemen as well, but it's going to require some micro, and FreakinAndy is just trying to get the castle up on the right hand side as well, so there is not really a whole lot of attention span left for the red player to utilize over here. What a game though! This might actually be worth it. After we had a rough start in the series with game number 1 being a write-off, so to say. There we go. Beautiful defense for FreakinAndy. He does end up losing the castle, yes. But he's pushing the Trebuchet over here. He's keeping his TC up. How many villagers do we have for the red player? Because if he does get raided over here, he can only garrison 15. He's got 35 villagers! And actually, that TC does not have a whole lot of HP. So if Raven brings a few units around, should be able to get, at the very least, 20 villagers, right? But he's kind of busy trying to defend himself over here. The interesting thing is, even if Raven was able to get the 20 villagers down over there, he would still find himself behind by 28 vills. Because FreakinAndy would go down to 134. 36 actually, villagers, sorry. 38 now, I guess. So yeah, Raven, there is just too much damage over here that he's gotta do in order to offset for FreakinAndy's incredible economy lead. He's gonna try though. With the throwing axeman, he's getting some villages on the right hand side towards the south. And he's got the one throwing axeman on the wood line. Putting pressure against FreakinAndy. In this situation, if you're in Raven's position, you are definitely not out of the game yet. We, of course, have vision of everything. We know that there is a substantial military lead and a substantial worker lead for FreakinAndy, but if you're in Raven's position, you gotta realize just how exposed FreakinAndy is on the left-hand side. So the first step towards coming back into this one is just trying to raid. So he needs to send the units. And he's got a very small amount of military over here to work with, which is very unfortunate. I would like for him to go for a stable over here, and because he's playing Franks, he already gets extra HP, right, on his cavalry units. He's going for Chain Barded Armor, which I do like. And Chain Barded Armor is absolutely crucial to put pressure over here, because otherwise the TC might be able to clean out the knights. So if he sends just a few, 3-4 knights over here, and he starts raiding, there is no way for FreakinAndy to defend all its economy 100% of the time. I do like the throwing axeman attempt. At the very least, he is doing some damage over here. But it might take a little bit too long because of the lack of mobility for the unit. FreakinAndy instead, he's got into the Imperial Lich already, and well, from this point onwards, he can start going for trebuchets himself, and because he's already been putting pressure with rams, the defenses from Raven have kind of fallen apart a little bit. Here we go. Beautiful. This is what I was talking about. The knights are coming in, doing a lot more damage compared to the throwing axeman. And check this out, that TC is getting the knight. Oh, it's not getting the knight actually. It just got delayed, but it's going down to the trebuchet in a moment, so all these villages from FreakinAndy are going down. Raven already took care of all the villages on the right hand side. Now he's taking care of all the villagers left over here on the left. And FreakinAndy is still ahead though, because once again, the worker lead for FreakinAndy was so massive that even after losing his entire left hand side of the economy, he is still ahead by 14 workers against Raven. And now that he's gotten to the Imperial Age, his units are significantly stronger. He was not paying attention over here though. That was awful for FreakinAndy. He ends up losing a lot of mango there, but he was probably paying attention down the south instead, where he's still trying to put pressure against Raven. He was able to get some village down over here by the looks of it, and he's trying to get the castles down. The good thing for Raven is that if he loses the castles, it's not going to impact his production potential because he's going to be banking on knights anyway. FreakinAndy, if he's the one to lose castles, he kind of loses on his military because he's very much so banking on going for Mangodai. The fact that FreakinAndy was able to survive this long while in the castle age against Raven's Imperial Age push is just a testament to how good this player has gotten. That was really well played from him. And now Raven will he's got some to catch up to still. It's not quite as much as before. So he's been able to reduce the lead of FreakinAndy by a substantial margin. But it's still there. So Raven's gotta keep on going. He's gotta keep the grind going. He doesn't like getting pushed away from the north though. So now it's going to turn into a game where FreakinAndy's got full control of the northeast. And Raven's got full control of the southeast of the map. They have traded one base each. Not the best unit control though for Raven. That's a little bit better. Man, we have drills already for FreakinAndy, so these rounds are super quick. Did he go for Elite Mangle? How many upgrades do we still miss on these units? So we are still missing Elite Mangle. We are still missing Park and Tactics. We have Ballistics. And we have Thumbring. So we are basically missing just those. Right? Park and Tactics and Elite Mangle. And these will be fully upgraded. We have Chemistry. We have Ballistics already. Thumbring. Bloodlines. And yeah, the Husbandry as well. There we go. He's gotten the elite upgrade. So now only Part and Tactics left for these to be fully upgraded to Elite Mangle. But to be fair, yeah, that's going to be enough for him to get the GG out of Raven. And to be fair, those Mangle were quite mighty on their own, right? So well played. FreakinAndy's defense in the Castle Age was nothing short of amazing. And Raven's push was not strong enough in the Imperial Age, unfortunately for him. So FreakinAndy does end up taking this one. It is going to be 3-0 in the end, and it did not necessarily look like that was going to be the case, but that's what we get. So for the next series, once again, what do we have? We're going to have Dark versus Adam coming up after this one. So for the final achievements, we see a little bit better than 1 to 1 kill ratio for FreakinAndy. It's going to be exactly 21 to 10. For economy, we see a stronger economy for FreakinAndy, collecting 24,000 extra resources or close to it. 23,500 extra resources. A much higher worker count towards the end of the game. FreakinAndy was starting to pick up as well, some steam. So it was going to get even larger for him, his lead that is. So well done. Let's take a look at APM real quickly. Yeah, it's actually very close for both players and neither particularly quick on this game. You know, I have noticed that usually the more hectic games result in the lowest APMs for players because you cannot rely on your automatized processes quite as much because things that you're not used to playing around start happening, right? Like several places, too many fires to put out, several places that call for attention. You cannot just rely on your automated processes for a higher APM. But it's very close for both these guys. FreakinAndy a little bit higher still.